Gary wanted it to be more like this.
Well, it looks better. It does. Right.
Well, good morning, everyone. I will now call to order the April 3rd, 2025 Clackamas County Board of Commissioners business meeting. County Administrator Gary Schmidt, would you please call the roll?
Yes, thank you, Chair Robert. Staff support today, Jane Beto, County Counsel, Andrew Jaraki, Clerk to the Board. Roll call, Commissioner Schrader.
Here.
Commissioner West.
Here.
Commissioner Savas. Present. Chair Roberts.
Here. All right, thank you. And now would you please all stand, join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the first public communication. And testimony is limited to 3 minutes. I ask that everybody be respectful and courteous. As a reminder, you can also email submissions for public communication at bcc@clackamas.us, and these will be accepted as a part of our public record. I will now open the meeting for public testimony. I'll take in-person testimony first. And I just would like to remind everyone that if you would hold your applause till the end, I want to make sure that everybody gets their 3 minutes and it doesn't get interrupted by clapping. It's okay to clap at the end, but just be respectful of whoever is presenting and let them finish. I'd sure appreciate that. So, Clerk, would you please moderate the in-person and virtual testimony for us?
Thank you, Chair. If you are joining us today in person and would like to speak, this is a reminder to please fill out a blue card and deposit in the box by the door. Again, if you'd wish to speak today, please make sure you fill out a blue card and deposit it in the box by the door. I will call 2 names at a time. If those 2 names could please come forward, each will have 3 minutes. The first 2 names are Les Poole and Sophia Butler. Les Poole and Sophia Butler, come forward, please. Mr. Poole, go ahead, please. You have 3 minutes.
Good morning, Les Poole. I'm the world record holder for participation in public meetings in Clackamas County. That's my claim to fame. What I mean by that is I've been here on behalf of what I believe to be the right side of issues for many years. I'm pleased and I want to thank the chair for moving public comment back to the start of the meeting. You know, sometimes it can set a tone, but that's why, as they say, you're paid the big bucks. I wanted to talk about the treatment plant fiasco ongoing with Portland Water Bureau. Very troubling, and I understand that they've got some kind of a bill they're attempting to push through the legislature to circumvent the land use laws. The ruling on that project, while it's in Multnomah County, has had a dramatic effect on us, and certainly the damage to the roads out there has just begun. So please continue to stay engaged there. I'll cut that short and move to the replacement of our former Commissioner Fireside, the one that we're paying for her defense on now. The one that I believe was the treasurer of her own campaign. Boy, did you guys walk into a storm. And here it is budget season, and we're in the middle of dealing with that. Very awkward, and hopefully in the future things can be done to prevent that. I'm going to take my last minute and just put a message out. Pretty simple one. Right now there's 4 commissioners in front of me. If I were applying for this job, I need 3 of you to vote for me. And no matter what I do or who I am, I need 3 votes. And that somehow gets lost in what's going on. Folks think that this is a typical replacement like you might see at the legislature. So clarity from you, or clarity to folks, is that we can influence you individually, but the decision is ultimately up to you. I'll close by saying, you'll notice that I announced my participation, and that would beg the question, why didn't I apply for the open seat? The answer is that after 33 years or 34 years in Clackamas County, I've moved a few miles down the road, and ironically, I am now a resident of Marion County. I timed that quite well for an old man. Thank you.
Thanks, Les.
Ms. Butler, go ahead, please.
Hello, I'm Sophia Butler. I'm a senior program planner in Children, Family, and Community Connections in H3S and proud EA member. I'm a mom of 3. I have voted in every election in the past 17 years in Clackamas County, including for many of you. And this is April. It's Child Abuse Awareness and Prevention Month. Some of you have attended past events for this. But the work of preventing child abuse, which many of you would agree is very important, isn't glamorous and it's not dramatic. It's housing families. It's giving them access to affordable health and dental care. It's connecting them to childcare and preschool resources. It's keeping their homes livable through weatherization. It's giving them home visits. It's supporting them with nutritional food. You'll notice this work is about reducing stress on families. It's about giving them directed service when they need it most. This work in Clackamas County is largely grant funded, and it is done by largely H3S in your EA union. We offer families a hand up in their time of need, not a hand out. And our services, our prevention-directed services, save taxpayers thousands of dollars. Some of our prevention services return 9 times on every dollar we spend. When you support families with young children to prevent them from going down bad paths, you not only turn out supported families who do not get involved in the family court system or end up in jail, but you also support their children, your future voters, your future work staff, your future homeowners. And when you are getting in the way of preventing child abuse, when you're getting in the way of serving families and communities, you're endangering families. And that is what you're doing by endangering this work and stopping us from doing the work that we love and care for. And you're also putting our families in stress. I'm a mom of 3. I have an 11, a 9, and a 5-year-old. They're in public schools. And protective factors for them are me being able to feed them nutritious food. I don't buy organic. I don't even buy store brand. Like, I will go into the cheapest places. I shop at Winco. I try to shop local where I can. But I am cutting costs all over the place. My kids are not in team sports. I drive a beater car. I am working on staying within my budget so that I can turn around as a homeowner and make sure I have enough money to pay my taxes due to the county and to the government, which I happily support because I want to in turn support the good work we do here. So as a resident of Clackamas County, as a proud Clackamas County employee, as a parent, as a community member that shows up not only in my personal life but in my work life, I ask you to not make it come to this point of a strike. I want to see us resolve this, and I ask you all to show up meaningfully for mediation.
Next, Sarah Zachary and Dan Tews. Next, Sarah Zachary and Dan Tews. Please come forward. Ms. Zachary, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Sarah Zachary, and I have proudly worked for Clackamas County for 20 years. I also serve as the Secretary for the Employees Association. For 2 decades, I've been honored to work alongside my colleagues. My coworkers are not just coworkers, they are my family. The employees of Clackamas County work tirelessly to serve our community. We take pride in our work, and every one of us plays a crucial role in making our community a better place. Regardless of our titles, we are all part of the same team. Together, we embrace Clackamas County core values, spirit, service, professionalism, integrity, respect, individual accountability, and trust. However, lately it feels like we are no longer a family. The lack of trust for our leaders is very disheartening. It feels like we're working against each other instead of together, and that disconnect is taking a toll not just on our work lives, but our personal lives as well. The stress, the worry, and the division we're experiencing have become exhausting. I believe this division stems from a mistake made on December 17th, 2024. On that day, the board authorized Gary to sign all contracts in bargaining. I'll give the benefit of the doubt and assume you didn't realize there wasn't a final contract for us to sign or approve. I'll also assume that you didn't fully understand how this would undermine our ability to negotiate a fair contract. Nor did you grasp the impact of the statements like those of Commissioner Tootie Smith, who publicly said to the EA, "You've received a very steadfast commitment by 3 commissioners who are returning after January, and they are holding our feet to the fire. All of these contracts will be finished by December 31st, or retro pay will disappear." And when Commissioners Ben West and Paul Savas referred to the drop-dead date of December 31st as final, the message was damaging as well as misguided. I'll give the benefit of the doubt and assume the threats that were made that day weren't intentional, but to me, it felt like an effort to exert power, and that was wrong. I know it was wrong because on April 24th, 2024, during a policy session, Gary recommended a cost of living allowance for the commissioners. He said, and I quote, "You all have to buy groceries and gas for your cars, so you should get a 4.1% COLA like every other employee." And I agree with him. Every other employee in this organization should receive the same fairness. This moment offers an opportunity for us to acknowledge our mistakes, to learn, and to grow stronger together. It feels as though a line has been drawn in the sand and there's a big effort to dig in. I'm here today urging you to rethink your actions, your words, and the message they send. Remember, we are all part of the same work, family, and community. We're all on the same side. Do the right thing. Give us retro COLA, just as you have given it to yourselves. Give us a fair contract. Thank you.
Mr. Tooze, go ahead, please.
Hello, Commissioners. My name's Dan Tooze. I don't envy your jobs, but I'm here today to ask you to please put aside personal feelings or partisanship and do the right thing for the people of Clackamas County. Please appoint Mark Scholl to the seat that's open. So far, your employees have broke everything you asked them not to do. Anyway, Mark has 88,000 votes and a lot of experience. 88,000 voters feel disenfranchised by the fact that the election went bad, yet another bad election in Clackamas County. Mark has all the experience. 88,000 people voted for him because they want him to work on your budget. He's fiscally responsible. And that's why I'm here today, for my children, my grandchildren, my employees, the 50 years of taxes that I've paid in this county, along with all the other community service. So I'm just asking you to please get back to business, bring back Mark. He's got the experience. He knows your old business. He knows your new business. He knows the budget. And we elected you guys to handle the business of Clackamas County. Thank you.
Next, Leah Brower and P. Ramirez. Come forward, please.
Some more materials. Is that fine?
Ms. Brower, go ahead, please.
Again, I have a nice sign for you guys to read while we're doing this. But I'll just put it right here for you. So Hello, Commissioners, Chair Roberts. My name's Leah Brower, and I am a Clackamas County employee, and I'm here today in support of the Employees Association and to address the looming reality of a CCEA strike. And I'm disappointed that I need to be here again today to go over issues that have been reiterated over and over. The offer that was presented to the EA was categorically rejected, and besides the fact that it's one of the weakest benefit packages in the region, it also does not provide the back wages, which we are due, among other issues. And last time I was here, I tried to provide some comparison information about what other public entities offer and what we're competing against to attract and retain staff, which obviously had no effect. And the fact is, Commissioners, we're supposed to be on the same team. We are supposed to be working together to build public trust through good government, and a good government pays its bills on time. We're supposed to grow a vibrant economy. How does financially strangling your employees help with this when most of us live here? We certainly won't be ensuring safe and healthy communities if our most vital care providers have to walk out in order to be afforded the basic respect that they deserve. And Chair Roberts, you committed yourself to working with folks with mental illness and addiction. If our mental health providers walk out, that's going to be hard. Paul, where is the fiscal responsibility in not paying our bills, in not paying our employees? And Martha, maybe I'll see you at the next Braver Angels meeting. I didn't see you at the last one. Ben, I would expect that as a nurse, you would understand what it means to have the weight of protecting patients on your shoulders. In my last role at the Stroke Center at OHSU, I worked with an amazing team of people who provided life-saving interventions any time of day. We'd stay till 2 a.m. and stay as long as we needed, because we care about patients and making sure they get what they need no matter what. And our team supported each other through COVID and fires. We were there. And now I'm here on this team. And my goal is still to make sure the patients get the care they need no matter what. And every single person I work with has the same goal. And I'm appalled that this board would stand in the way of that work. I come from a 3-generation military family. Service is core to my beliefs as a person. My dad is a disabled veteran, and so the union is prepared to go the extra mile to get our teams what they need to serve our community. I made another levy poster and this speech in 2 hours of my free time. Imagine what 800 or 1,000 union members will do with 2 weeks of dedicated effort. You've had 8 months. We're a team and we'll succeed or fail together. A strike hurts everyone and the ball is in your court, and I hope you'll make the right decision. Thank you.
Mr. Ramirez, go ahead, please.
Patricio, hang on. Chair Roberts, I know 2 jobs ago, the one before retirement, you were the Clackamas County Sheriff. So this makes me believe that you realize what can be done and what isn't supposed to be done. Rewind back, as far as our union contract negotiations go, or went, we had some ULPs perpetrated against the EA by the former board, which you were not the chair of, nor even part of. So specifically, on the 17th of December, 2024 issues and updates meeting, which was a time when the EA was still actively in bargaining sessions with the county, there was a statement made that said, quote, if the contracts are not completed by December 31st, 2024, there will be no retroactive payments to those employees, and that's a quote. 2 problematic issues jump out immediately with that statement made by Gary Schmidt, which was then parroted by Paul Savas, Ben West, Martha Schrader, and finally Tootie Smith, who actually addressed EA employees directly. First, this is called direct dealing, which isn't supposed to be done. It's against the rules. Second, to make up an arbitrarily deadline to have contracts ratified by is called not bargaining in good faith. Actually, that's not bargaining at all. It's more like threatening, which isn't supposed to be done. That's also against the rules. Okay. I know you aren't the sheriff anymore. That was 2 jobs ago, the one before retirement. However, since you are the new chair-if on the board, we are all waiting thanks. We're all waiting for you to do what should be done and not allowing and participating in what isn't supposed to be done, like stuff against the rules. Okay, still 2 jobs ago, the one before retirement. If some entity had payment, and by payment, I mean money, that was budgeted, collected, and then approved for release to another entity that earned that payment, but out of the blue, a group of people said they were now not going to release the payment to the entity that earned it, what would that have been called? I won't say it here today, but it rhymes with stealing. I'm out.
Rick Riley and Susan Alvarez. Rick Riley and Susan Alvarez are next. Rick Riley and Susan Alvarez.
I don't think so.
Ms. Alvarez, go ahead, please.
I'm a PCP from House District 26. We the people. November 5th, 2025, approximately 88,000 Clackamas County residents voted for Mr. Scholl to be Clackamas County Commissioner. The question is, do 88,000 of your constituents decide who sits as a Clackamas County Commissioner, or do 4 people decide? I believe it should be we the people. Thank you.
Mr. Riley, go ahead, please.
Rick Riley, Chair of Clackamas County Republican Party, and today bringing you the voice of the majority of our party who couldn't be here because they're out working to support their Clackamas County government. It looks like we're here on a couple of major issues today. I'm wearing black today to match the cloud that is currently hanging over this commission. Chair Roberts, I wish this weren't the case on our first meeting, but you're coming in under some very dark conditions and a lot of baggage. Our party's consensus is that you knew Melissa Fireside was under investigation prior to the election, yet you said nothing. Had the people known she was under investigation for felonious conduct, the public scrutiny of that alone may have caused her not to run. Yet that news was buried, and here we sit with a brand new commission chair who many are openly saying is guilty of election interference. Chair Roberts, maybe you'd like to clear that up today, as people are desperate to know what you knew about the Fireside investigation and exactly when you knew about it. Addressing the seat vacated by a woman now under indictment for 8 felonies, including stealing tens of thousands of dollars from an 82-year-old man and forging multiple signatures to do it. What a great politician she would have made. I issued an email regarding this mess to our party on Tuesday. Ben West, who has always been an advocate for conservative values and a stalwart representative for Clackamas County Republicans, felt I threw him under the bus. That was not my intention at all. Ben has worked tirelessly for this party. He's been a huge asset. We do not want to see him go. But Commissioner, you needed to be warned you were losing support by not listening to your constituents and at least advocating for the logic of Mark Scholl to take that seat. Scholl ran a close second with 48% of the vote. And in any race, when first is disqualified, second becomes first. That's the party's logic, and that's how they want you to represent them. According to ORS 236.215, filling vacancies of county judge or commissioner, you shall appoint a person qualified to perform the duties of the office, and the appointment must be filled within 30 days after the vacancy's occurrence. That 30-day deadline is here in 3 days, and this problem needs to be solved now. At this point, for a number of reasons, Mark Scholl by far is the most qualified to fill the seat. And since the opposing party's candidate perpetuated this mess, they should be conciliatory in cleaning it up. Let's appoint Commissioner Schultz today and get rid of this immense dark cloud that's hanging over this commission. Besides, it's spring. It's time for new life. I shouldn't be wearing black, even though it does make me look a little slimmer. Thank you.
Carrie Vandenkoering and Paul Fruin. Carrie Vandenkoering and Paul Fruin. Ms. Vandenkoering, go ahead, please.
My name's Carrie Vandenkoering. I'm a proud member and vice president of the Clackamas County Employees Association. I come to you today not only as an employee, but as a lifelong resident of Clackamas County and one of the many people who show up every single day to serve this community. We are the ones transporting your neighbors to dialysis and critical life-saving appointments. We're helping people find housing when they have nowhere else to go, supporting children that are in crisis, veterans who served this country, adults and children with disabilities, and families just trying to survive. We're the hands, faces, and voices behind the services the county gives its residents. We show up every day, even when we're exhausted, when we're short-staffed, overworked, because we care deeply about what we do and the people we serve. Over the years, we've lost more than just fair wages. We've lost trust, stability, and even resources and space needed to do our own jobs. Many staff are forced to double, triple up in cramped workspaces. Some no longer have a desk of their own and must reserve a space just to work each day, lugging their materials from one place to another. We're told this is the new model. Well, at the same time, being asked to return the tools that actually allowed us to work effectively from home. We're told there was no retroactive cost of living, as all of this was also going on, and we were losing more in other areas. Because we simply stood up to the commissioners and didn't sign a contract on an arbitrary deadline. The decision didn't hurt morale, it sent a clear message that we're not valued. I hope the community understands that 90% of the funding for the retroactive COLA for our union comes from outside funding sources, not from county tax dollars. A lot of those funding sources will require that money be sent back to them. The commissioners sent a message they'd rather throw money away than give it to the employees. So we can only take so much. Well, we cannot bring personal items into our cubicles anymore, pictures of our kids, anything like that, because we don't even get space. We barely have enough for a desk and a chair for us to do our work. Well, we look at the administration with expansive layouts, nice plush couches that they can relax on, and also massive unused areas, but yet we do not get space to work. This county was once led by leaders who led by example. Now it feels like leadership is doing less and constantly demanding more and dictating decisions that harm all of the frontline workers, and by extension, the residents we serve. The constant belittling, poor treatment, and expectations that will just keep showing up no matter how poorly we're treated, it's not sustainable, it's not acceptable. And when 90% of our union members spoke up and voted to authorize a strike, that should have sent a clear and powerful message that enough is enough. Treat us with dignity, understand that we, not those in upper management making well over 6 figures, are the ones directly serving county residents every day. We're the human connections people rely on in their most vulnerable moments. We don't want to strike, we want to serve. But we will not stand by while leadership continues to devalue and ignore us. Now's your opportunity to do the right thing. Finalize a fair contract, show us, the heart of this county, that you see us, you hear us, and you respect the work that we do. Because if you don't and we're forced to walk out in order to be treated like we matter, then you tell us. What do we say to the mother who needs urgent housing for her children? What do we tell the 90-year-old man who will miss life-saving dialysis treatment because we're not there to transport him? What do we tell the child who can't access mental health services that they desperately need? Or what do we say to the veteran who's been waiting months and months for the services that they're not going to get because we are out there trying to get fair treatment? How do we prepare these people that we care about for what's coming? We ask that you finalize the contract before more damage is done. We want to work together to make Clackamas County what it once was, a great place to live and a place where people were proud to work.
Mr. Fruin, go ahead, please.
Well, it's nice to see you all again here, and Chairman Roberts, it's my first time before you, but I'll be back again. I can assure you of that, because it's my duty as a citizen to address you guys. And I'm addressing you here relative to the commissioner appointment. It's going to be redundant here for a lot of other testimony that you're getting, but basically it comes down to an issue of doing the right thing. This is not a political decision. It's not about trying to pick the person that just the four of you want the most. And three of you have already worked with Mark Schull, who I would suggest also that you appoint because of the 88,000 votes that he got, you know, regardless of whether that's a political thing amongst the four of you, whether you want to work with Mark again or whether you think that he's maybe not the right candidate. We, the people, spoke and picked him as our second candidate. And so I really want to encourage you guys as you deliberate about this, which you may have already deliberated, but Mark is the best, most qualified. He's always here. He doesn't, when he comes to work, he comes to work. He's not here, you know, just a few hours or whatever. He's in the office working. And I respect him for that. I encourage all of the rest of you to be as, you know, proficient as he was in terms of being on the job. This is not about anything other than Clackamas County. It's not about going to Washington, D.C., or it's not about going other places around the world. We want you here representing us and listening to us. And so I would strongly encourage you that you choose Mark to replace that because we, the people, have spoken. Thank you very much.
Next, Elvis Clark. Elvis Clark and Randy Paul. Elvis Clark and Randy Paul.
Hi, Elvis Clark from Milwaukee, and thank you for coming today. I'm about the appointment to the position number 4 of the Clackamas County Commission. I've dealt with or interacted with Clackamas County employees, and I'm always kind of impressed. They're very sociable to engaging to the public. And I know that Mark is a bit of a budget hawk, but he also is very respectful of the people that work here and has always been that way. And I really support his appointment to the board again. Everybody lost to Mark Schull. I didn't get any votes. The people that maybe got a few write-in votes also lost. The person that came in first quite possibly disqualified themselves for not providing information relevant to that election. And so I think the logistics, that's a rock-solid argument for his appointment to the commission. He received over 48% of the vote. And that's a better approval rating than even our Governor Kotek has. And a lot of other highly or election officials have gotten. So that's what I have to say about that.
Thank you.
Mr. Paul, go ahead, please.
My name is Randy Paul. I'm from Boring, Oregon. This is my first time being in front of this body or even in this room. I have a family to raise, ministries to serve, a business to run. I don't normally have time for something like this, but this issue of this vacated seat, why it's vacated, the reason for it, and your response to it has got my attention. It's got my emotion. A lot of people that I know feel the same way that I do, and so I thought I would come here today to tell you just what people who aren't part of this normal crowd are thinking and feeling. And I understand that you guys are politicians, and there's a political aspect to everything that you do, partisan, nonpartisan, whatever. But the will of the people has been expressed. Mark did get a lot of votes, and he probably would have fared better in this election if we had had an honest evaluation of the candidates before us. I feel very strongly that we did not, and that is one part of the problem. How you solve it. If you don't consider the will of the people as our representatives, that will be a whole new problem, a whole new aspect to, I guess, rile people up. And we're riled. Normal people, my mother-in-law, my wife, her friends, school moms, when they hear the details of what have happened here, they're upset. And so I'm here to kind of speak for these people. People aren't normally politically active. They don't normally come to these meetings, don't have time. That's all I need to say.
Thank you.
Please support Mark Schull. He's the obvious choice. The will of the people sets this right, this whole situation, and the will of the people has been spoken.
Thank you.
Next, Renelle Murrow and Maya Honor Anders. Renelle Murrow and Maya Honor Anders. Ms. Murrow, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Renelle Muro. I live in Canby, Oregon. So doing the right thing is rarely easy, especially when personal feelings tug at your heart and when voices around you push against justice and transparency. It's human to hesitate, to feel the weight of doubt and the sting of disapproval. But integrity isn't forged in comfort. It's shaped in the fire of tough choices. When we let emotions or external pressures dictate our actions, we risk veering from what's fair and true. Justice doesn't bend for convenience, and transparency doesn't dim to spare feelings. They stand firm, demanding we rise above the noise. Consider the moments in life that define us. They're not the times we followed the crowd or silenced our conscience to avoid conflict. Opposing views can be loud, persuasive, even intimidating. Personal feelings, anger, fear, loyalty can cloud judgment. Yet the right thing isn't about what feels good in the moment or what wins applause. It's about anchoring yourself to principles that endure, fairness, honesty, and the courage to let light pierce the shadows. When you act from that place, you're not just resisting pressure, you're building a legacy of trust. So push past the clamor and the pull. Do what's right over a decision that directly impacts the board's composition and the public's representation. Clackamas needs Mark Scholl now more than you know. Thank you for your time.
Ms. Anders, go ahead, please.
My name is Mia Honor Anders. My pronouns are they, them, theirs. I live in Clackamas County, and I also work for the county as an election specialist, as I have done full-time for the better part of a decade, and as a seasonal elections worker for also the better part of a decade. So I've had a lot of interaction with the county over the years. It is work that I have been proud of. I don't feel that the way things have gone with regards to the Kaiser premium, I don't talk in front of people very much because it's very scary. I'm on the autism spectrum, so it's always a bit of a guess as to what the other person is saying with their body or with their tone. And as a survivor, I learned as a child that there is what an adult says and what an adult does. And I have been watching you very carefully. And I do not feel that what you say and what you do match. I authorized about $88 to be from my paycheck in order to pay the Kaiser premium. On December 30th, I received an email that it would be going to over $300. There was no warning, and it was a huge slap when, for the first time in several years, I felt like I could spend just a little more money to help me manage things at home, to help me provide for an adult that I provide for, as well as for myself and managing my needs with my chronic disease. Something that has been playing in my mind for nearly a year at this point is, it was from the May 29th, 2024 budget presentation for the elected offices. This is available on YouTube. And this is in the part where Sheriff Angela Brandenburg and Commissioner Ben West were speaking with each other. It's a lot of conversation and there's context, and I wish I could give more of it, but there's only so much time. So I'm just going to read the most pertinent part, the part that stuck out to me in my heart and mind. Commissioner West said, "I appreciate that, Sheriff. Frankly, I would push back a little bit that you're the elected sheriff, not Nancy Artman, so you are not the same. I know she represented you, but in something that an audit of this magnitude that confirmed many of the issues we were having last year and the findings. When we were involved on the county side, it would have been nice to have you and your undersheriffs have that equal participation in my question. The sheriff asked, I guess my question for you is, what would you have me done differently? And Commissioner West replied, if I was the elected sheriff, I would have been engaged in those very important meetings with my staffer, with an undersheriff also. Are we not important? How present have you been? It doesn't feel like it. Thank you.
Next, Natalie Lutmer and Dwight Sims. Natalie Lutmer and Dwight Sims. Ms. Lutmer, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. This is my 9th time here since January. I've been at every single public meeting that you've had since January, again, expressing my frustrations with the way that the board and county commissioners have treated the Clackamas County Employees Association, especially regarding the Kaiser monthly premium, which, as one of the other employees just said, went from $88.46 to $303.20. We had 2 business days notice, and that has continued to come out of our paychecks and will until we've settled the contract. And at this point, I've really felt like I'm repeating the same things because I've spoke 8 times previously. So I'm trying to, throw some new things in there. But the ramifications of the decisions and the words that have been said by the commissioners at these meetings, the fallout is going to continue for years after this. You are going to see this impact, and it's going to continue to ripple long after an agreement has been reached. I think the favorite quote that I have, and one that I live by, one that I share often, it's by Charles Dickens, and it says, "No one is useless in this world who lightens the burdens of another." And that is what I try to live my life by. I hope that the county wants high-quality workers who care about their jobs and care about the citizens of the county that we work in. I know my value as an employee. I absolutely know it. And outside of working here at the county and giving my best every day to my position, I volunteer hundreds of hours with various charities and community organizations here in Clackamas County. I would hope that I am the type of person that the county would want to retain as an employee. The employees were recently asked to fill out a survey regarding, it had several questions, if they feel supported and valued by their immediate supervisors and their departments. I really wish that the county would have expanded some of those questions to include if the employees feel valued and supported by the larger county leadership, because I will tell you, most of them do not. I feel like I am a number on a budget line right now and a cost savings if I don't get my back pay COLA or if a strike happens and my wages don't get paid. I'm going to throw another quote in here. This one is a little humorous, so go with me. It's from my favorite Christmas movie, National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation, and it's when Clark Griswold's boss, Mr. Shirley, he's confronted with the fact that instead of giving his company employees their bonus at the end of the year, he gives them a membership to the Jelly of the Month Club. And once he realizes the error of his ways, this is what he says, and I just felt it was applicable. Sometimes things look good on paper, but lose their luster when you see how it affects real folks. I guess a healthy bottom line doesn't mean much when you have to hurt the ones you depend on. And the actions that you make, it may sound good in your head, it may sound good in your meetings that you have, but when it comes to the bottom line, when it comes to what you're doing, it's hurting the people you depend on. The people in the EA union, we are the largest union in Clackamas County. We are the people that are serving the community. You are hurting us. Actions speak louder than words. Your work decisions are affecting my personal life. Thank you.
Mr. Sims, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thanks for the opportunity to speak with you again. It's good to see you. A little over 50 years ago, a small group of high-ranking Republicans went into the Oval Office and told Richard Nixon in no uncertain terms that he was going to have to resign. And he did, not immediately, but he did resign a few months later. Now, according to the Constitution, the Vice President, Spiro Agnew, should have taken his position immediately. However, this small group of politicians didn't want Agnew to become president for whatever reason, so they arranged some legal problems for him, and he was forced to resign also. Now, again, I hate to harp on it, but according to the Constitution, the third in line should have been the Speaker of the House. That didn't happen either. Again, a small group of people made it their decision to take over and say, okay, we're going to put a relatively unknown congressman from Michigan, you all know the story, Gerald Ford, in as vice president. And when Nixon resigned officially on August 9th of 1974, Gerald Ford became the first and the only person in American history to assume the presidency without getting a single vote. He didn't get a primary vote from a single voter. He didn't get, obviously, a general election vote. He got 0 votes from the Electoral College, and yet he became the president. Clearly, this was an undemocratic procedure. Whether you like Gerald Ford or not, this was an undemocratic procedure. Now let's flash forward to 2024, 50 years later. Unfortunately, we all know the story. That's all fresh in our mind. Joe Biden had earned tens of millions of votes from his fellow Democrats to become the legitimate nominee of the Democrat Party. And yet a small group of people, in this case, high-ranking Democrat officials, convinced him he needed to step down not from the presidency, but simply from the nominee of the party. In spite of all those votes, in spite of the fact that he had, according to my research, over 2,200 delegates pledged to vote for him. That didn't happen. That was overridden. They didn't get the chance to vote for anyone except the selected Kamala Harris. And so she, of course, ran and, as we know, lost, just like Gerald Ford lost. I don't know, it's a complicated situation. There were many factors, but I have a feeling, maybe the feeling of the American people is they'd rather vote for their elected officials. Now, getting down to our situation, obviously you have the same decision to make. I won't repeat what's been said about the fact that Mark Schull got 88,000 votes more than anyone else you could appoint, but I feel that's a very valid point, and he does have the experience. The good part of this, I think, in my view, is that you have the ability now to do the right thing, to honor the will of the people, which was not done in 1974 or to the Democrats in 2024. And you can appoint this man who, as has been pointed out, has tremendous experience and would fit right in. You've all worked with him, except maybe for Mr. Roberts. But I hope you'll do the right thing and honor the will of the voters of Clackamas County. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Next, Mark Rieksecker and Stephen Hunter. Mark Rieksecker and Stephen Hunter, please come forward. Mr. Rieksecker, go ahead, please.
Mark Rieksecker, I live in Oregon City. Commissioner West, you stated Clackamas County must follow statutory mandates that requires an application process to replace a vacant board seat. I, for one, did not know that. But let me share what I believe many people do know. We know that 88,000 people voted for Mark Schull, who lost in a close race. We know that there was a cover-up as to the indictment of Melissa Fireside before the election. We know that there was a widespread election fraud in this county, the state, and the country with vote by mail. We know that the selection, not election, of Melissa Fireside was to push far-left agendas. We know that had a fair and honest election occurred, Mark Schull would be on the dais today. We know Mark Schull has proven his integrity, ability, and is the best applicant. We know that the Board of Commissioners have 4 members with a strong possibility that a tie vote would disqualify an applicant. We know that Mark Schull, to be chosen, must receive at least 3 votes. We know that elections are coming up next year for 2 commissioner seats. We know that if the board fails to select Mark Schull to fill the vacant seat, it will disenfranchise 88,000 voters. Let me repeat that, 88,000 voters. Who will remember this when they vote for commissioners next year? Please choose wisely and put Mark Schull back in the seat where he belonged in the first place. Thank you. Thank you.
Mr. Hunter, go ahead, please.
Good morning, Chair, Commissioners. My name is Stephen Hunter. I reside in Wilsonville. Happy Liberation Day. You have heard my testimonies over the previous months. They are on the record, and I won't repeat my arguments. This sitting board has decided to place Clackamas County in the same predicament we see unfolding at the national level. Excuse me. The board refused to recognize or consciously decided to ignore faults with the person that succeeded in acquiring Commission Seat 4. After that ball of yarn unraveled, the four of you decided to take it upon yourselves to micromanage the replacement of your failed candidate. Now the candidate you choose will only have 4 votes out of the 320,000 registered voters in Clackamas County. Just as at the national level, we are watching a handful of rogue federal judges circumvent and deny the vote of 77.3 million voters by denying the president of his constitutional obligation and duty. You are denying and circumventing the will and desire of 88,000 county voters of their choice for Commission Seat 4. In 2020, one of your favorite senators unwisely stated, "I want to tell you, you have released the whirlwind and you will pay the price." Shalom.
Next, John Lee. John Lee and Lori Kimmel. John Lee and Lori Kimmel, come forward, please. Ms. Kimmel, go ahead, please.
My name is Lori Kimmel. I'm a veteran, but I'm here not on veterans issues. I'm here, Clackamas County has a problem, and we have an open commissioner seat. And I want to suggest that you appoint a problem solver. Mark Scholl is a problem solver. I live in South Clackamas County. And when Oregon City was doing construction on South Beaver Creek Road, and ODOT was doing construction, shutting down to 1 lane on Highway 213, that left us in the Beaver Creek area without a true egress. I contacted the commissioner's office. Mark Scholl was in his office. He listened to what I had to say about my concern about the lack of an egress, because just 2 years before, we had wildfires and had to evacuate. The next day, South Beaver Creek Road was open. ODOT was done doing their work. We had an egress. Mark Scholl is a problem solver, and I would like you to appoint him and empower him in that post. And I want to thank you, Chair Roberts, and commissioners for giving us this time so that we can talk to you. Thank you.
The final blue card I have for in-person testimony today is Laniel Vandermolen. Laniel Vandermolen. While she approaches, this is a final reminder. If you are attending the meeting in person and would like to testify, this is your last opportunity to please fill out a blue card and deposit it in the box by the door. Thank you. Ms. Vandermolen, go ahead, please.
Thank you. I have spent my lifetime involved in sports activities, and I've never been in a situation where if the first place winner had to be disqualified or had to step down for some reason, that the second place winner didn't automatically advance to the first place position. This is such a no-brainer. I'm surprised that we have to even discuss this situation. Mark Scholl was second place in a very close race. He needs to be appointed to the first place winner, and let's not complicate such a simple decision with these complicated political machinations. Thank you.
Chair, seeing no more blue cards for in-person testimony, with your assent, I'll move to the virtual testimony. If you are watching this meeting virtually and would now like to speak during public comment, I'll ask you to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Asa Hoffman. Asa Hoffman, I'll unmute you and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hello, can you hear me?
I'm sorry, sir, could you speak again?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you now. Go ahead, please.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, BCC, for granting us ample time for public comments at this business meeting. My comment pertains to filling the vacant seat on the Clackamas County Board, as have many others here. Rather than advocate for a particular applicant for this seat, I'd like to propose a hypothetical. If there were an applicant for the vacant seat who not only met, but exceeded the minimum qualifications and additional criteria provided by the board, would not this candidate be, at the very least, considered a front runner for the position? Further, if this candidate were supported more than any other public applicant, would not the board be acting in its own interest to appoint a popular candidate to fill a vacancy? At worst, if this candidate were to perform poorly in office, they would likely be ousted in the 2026 election. So, as a known quantity, the candidate would only be a stick in the mud for less than 2 years. With a board as experienced as this one, I have full confidence that they would be able to mitigate any problems caused in this period by such a candidate. So, that being proposed, I will be praying for and urge you to act with all wisdom on behalf of your constituents in this Clackamas County. Thank you for giving me your time.
Thank you.
It's a good testimony.
Next, Katie Knudsen. Katie Knudsen, I'll mute you, and you'll have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Thank you. My name is Katie Knudsen, and I'm an EA member here in solidarity with my union. I mentioned last week that EA members are the helpers, often out on the front lines, staffing shelters, responding to public health and climate emergencies, providing essential services to our most vulnerable folks in Clackamas County, and so much more. I have so much pride for the work that we do in Clackamas County and all of the amazing collaboration that happens across our departments and divisions. The work that we do here to address issues like substance use and housing insecurity in our county is pretty remarkable and incredible, and I do believe that we are leaders in a lot of these areas of work. We are here today, again, on our own time, looking for action behind your words that you value your employees. We're not asking for special treatment, and our retro COLA is not a raise. It's a cost of living adjustment to offset inflation and allow members to pay their bills. All of the commissioners, county leadership, and members with other unions have been receiving their COLA dated back to July 1st of 2024. The proposed bonus that the county is offering, and since I'm virtual, you can't see that I have quotation marks around the word bonus, because refusing to pay wages that have been previously promised and budgeted to our employees and offering instead a lump sum that is substantially less for the majority of our members is not a bonus. But the difference when you look at these differentials across our 1,300 members is significant. What is being offered to us only makes 27 of our 1,300 union members whole. The message you are sending to our EA members is that you do not value us and you don't value the work that we do. In the few decades that our union has been bargaining with the county, we have never been denied our retro COLA. We're asking you for basic respect so we can continue to provide the critical services that we are so passionate about. Thank you.
This is a final call. If you are attending this meeting via Zoom and wish to speak during the public comment portion, please raise your hand and I will call on you in the order that I see. Dina Almager, I'll unmute you and you'll have 3 minutes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, please.
Hi, my name is Dina Almaguer. I've been working for Clackamas County for 12 years. I work at one of the healthcare centers, and I am in solidarity with my colleagues for the COLA. Now, what is a COLA? The COLA is a cost of living adjustment. It is not a raise. And while we have it dangled over our foreheads like a carrot, the cost of living adjustment for the commissioners didn't take a pause, skip, or a beat. According to the OregonLive.com, that beat for the highest paid commissioner is $267,000 plus. Inflation from 2021 to 2023 was up 19%. Rent went up 30%, housing 30 to 40% increase, and wages 16.8%. The average median household income in 1980 was $22,000. Just last year, it was $77,000, with 3 times increase. Rent went up from $243 in 1980 to about $2,200 last year, which is 7.8 times increase. College is at 13 times increase. And with all due respect, that adjustment may just be considered a pay cut. In a meeting with the commissioners, one stated, and quote, "Departments do great. They never spend full budget. They carry over the unspent. The budget is stretchly sound for the next 5 years. I'm concerned about year 10, 15, and year 20. Well, that is great. Us as employees are worried about next week/next month." According to the budget manager, we have 90 million reserves and contingencies, unappropriated funds. And I work at the Sunnyside Clinic, been there 12 years, and the average cost for a healthcare appointment, just the appointment, which doesn't include labs or imaging, is $165 per visit. If you multiply that by 20 patients on average per provider per day, it's a lot of work and revenue coming in from the healthcare centers. Without us, this community will lack these services and resources. And according to Merriam-Webster Dictionary, greed is an intense and selfish desire for something, especially wealth, power, and food. So while we are all here and there is still time to make things right, it is not a matter of if, but when we strike. I will send my thoughts, percentages, and adjustments. Best regards, thank you.
This is once again a final call. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would like to speak, this is your last opportunity to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see no more members of the public who wish to speak.
All right, thank you. What I'll do right now is close the public communication portion of this meeting, and we've had a tremendous amount of people come testify today, and I want to thank you very much. We're going to take a short 5-minute break, and I know my colleagues would like to respond to some of the comments made today, so I'd encourage you to come back. So we'll take a quick short break. We will now reconvene the Board of County Commissioners meeting, and I want to give my colleagues an opportunity for comments. And I'll turn to Commissioner West.
Thank you. I'll say this, I really appreciate and really love in our system that people can come before their elected officials and they can be mad, they can share their heart, their feelings, they can speak whatever they need to say. Sometimes that speech isn't always popular. Sometimes it's necessary, but it is fundamental to who we are as Americans, regardless of what we believe politically or what side of the aisle we sit on. Under that flag, we all support the right for people to come and bring their regress to their elected officials. And sometimes that's not always perfect or pretty, but it is our job to sit here and listen to you. And so for anybody who took time away from work, their kids, their busy lives to come participate in this process, hats off to you, and I really appreciate it. I'll say this, though, with that said. It is noted that some in the crowd didn't have enough respect for their neighbor to not boo or do thumbs down because someone had a different opinion than you. You can do that, and your speech is protected, but it's not who we should be as Clackamas County residents. It's not how we should be as neighbors, and it doesn't help your cause. And so I want to let you know, I noticed it. But for those of you that had your principled beliefs and your strong words for this board, I appreciate those as you brought those respectfully and in a way that moved the needle forward for all of us. To those of you that don't know how to have decorum in a setting like this with your neighbor, you should reflect on your behavior. It's a little bit hard. We have two big issues being presented to us before today. Commissioner Scholl, you're in the room. It had been an honor to serve with you, and you're a good commissioner. We are tasked by statute, because we're a statutory county, to have to fill that seat because we're all having to deal with the betrayal of Melissa Fireside's behavior, not just to this board, but also to the entire region and the county. And that process is step by statute. We're a little bit kind of hedged in by that. It's the law. I have a question for council, though. One of the testimonies before today was saying we had a 30-day period, and that is up in 3 days, and he cited a statute. That was news to me. I would like clarification if you have that ability now or later.
Counselor, I'm sorry, your mic is not on.
I did check that, Commissioner. That is for partisan offices. This is a nonpartisan board.
Okay, thank you. I hope that answers the question that was delivered. And so we are going through an open application process. Mark Scholl is welcome to apply like many others have. He nods and says that he has. We'll review your application, Commissioner Scholl. We are considering those that maybe have held this seat previously. We had open conversation with that when we kind of publicly had a discussion on how we would handle this process. So thank you, Commissioner Scholl, for your application and service to this county. About the negotiations, the union has the ability to come and to make any case against us that they want publicly. They can paint any picture they want about how these proceedings have moved forward. Us as a board, though, because we are in negotiations and by law, we have been incredibly stifled in our ability to communicate maybe the full picture on both sides. So they can make their case and prosecute before the public, but there's two sides to this story and how this process is played out. At the end of the day, I firmly believe that our primary role is to the taxpayers of Clackamas County that pay for everything here today in every single employee benefit and salary. Our responsibility is to negotiate on behalf of the taxpayer. It is the union's responsibility to represent their group and their association for their needs and what they would like to see happen. But at the end of the day, we have to represent every single person who lives here that pays taxes. And that's who the union is actually negotiating against. It's against the taxpayer, and we are negotiating for the taxpayer. And so that's our role here with the Kaiser premiums, which I have much empathy for. We can't, back in August, when the Kaiser Permanente informed the county of the premium increases, we asked the union to notify their members of this pending increase. We have evidence of this. We asked them in August to notify their members of that pending increase. I have no idea if they were notified by their representation and the financial consequences that the members would face if a new contract was not put in place by the end of December. The other unions that were negotiating with us also saw it as a win-win, AFSCME and others, to ratify the contract by December 31st. They got a very lucrative contract paid for by the taxpayers of Clackamas County. They ratified it. For different reasons, the CCEA chose to continue negotiations and not ratify their contract by December 31st. I stand by the decision to move the county forward as long as with the other unions of this county who agreed with us that signed those contracts, that it was in the best interest not only of their union but of the taxpayers of Clackamas County to get that done by the end of the year. And they agreed to those terms, and they have received all of their retro pay and a very lucrative package up to that point. We can't share a lot of information and other details due to bargaining conditions. We also gave the opportunity for members of the union to go ahead and switch over to Providence that did not see an increase in their premiums, one of the largest medical providers in the region that provides full services and an array of options for the vast majority of residents in our region. Some chose to go to Providence, some chose to pay a higher premium with Kaiser. The county will also be reimbursing the employees on the Kaiser insurance for the difference premiums from back in January 2025, once the contract is updated and once we get to a deal. They will be reimbursed for the increased premiums. I can say this with a lot of compassion and a lot of hard work, with many offers made to the union, we have put forth very lucrative, very, very generous packages paid for by the taxpayer. And we have to continue to figure this out. And we are at an impasse. And I have to still be careful of some other things I want to say, but we're all public servants here. We're all trying to get it done. We are all in this together. That is all true. But I think those are important points to make as we look moving forward. I know my colleagues might have some other things to say about this after all the testimony that we heard. But I think those are important things to consider as we move forward. And those of you truly that took the time out of your day, and those of you that are small business owners or work for the private sector, or maybe had to get childcare to come here, and those of you that continue to do so for good and better local government, I appreciate you and thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Schrader.
Yeah, someone mentioned something today what I wanted to share with all of you. They mentioned this movement called Braver Angels. It's a volunteer movement. It's at the local level, and the mission of this group, and I've attended one of their debates recently, which was very enlightening to me as someone who was a farmer and a strawberry grower, and the topic was the hot topic of immigration, which I'm not going to go into, but we had both sides discussing it in a very civil, direct manner. And the mission there is to bring people across a partisan divide while strengthening our republic. Okay, we have to respectfully embrace political disagreements because that's where civic friendship flourishes. Conversations in these, my experience is it's been respectful. People have been honest. They take responsibility for what they say, and the goal is not to change our views on the issues. That is not the goal of this organization. What it really is trying to bring a change to how we view one another and to understand that some of us are going to be left center, some are going to be to the right of center. My own personal philosophy is not left, not right, but forward. But the whole thing is to really overcome the various division, rural, urban, liberal, conservative, red, blue. That's the point of this organization. So if you want to look it up and you want to have some interesting conversations with maybe your friends and neighbors that you may be diametrically on two different sides of an issue, it provides a safe forum and you make new friends and you build community. So that is why, that's how I try and go through all of this. I will tell you, it's very nice to see you, Commissioner, or past Commissioner Shull. I enjoyed working with you, and I believe you have an application in. We do have, but you understand, sir, because you're military, there is a process that we have to follow, and there are no guarantees, and I don't know how many applications we have at this point, Gary, but quite a few. Do we know about 15 or 16, maybe more? I don't know. Yeah, okay. So, all right, so folks, I know that supporters of Commissioner Shull are here. I think it's admirable that you are supporting him, but we are bound by, okay, I'm a big person because it keeps it less political, follow the process. So I can guarantee you we will follow the process as a team on the county. One thing I will remind everybody, in 2 years, this is not a 4-year position, this is a 2-year position, so it will be up for election. I actually had a similar situation in one of my elections where I lost by 0.5 percentage point. I was a state senator and I was chair of the Veterans Services Committee. And what we found out later, there was a well-meaning woman there who was taking the undervotes where there was nobody marked, and she was changing it. Okay, this is not partisan, but this is what happened for the Republican. Okay, and I could have been in a position to make a huge stink about that because I had lost by such a narrow margin. I was like, wait a minute, what the hey? But I decided not to. I decided that that was what happened, let it be, and that I would accept the results. And that was when Senator Alan Olson was elected to take over my seat, and he served our community well. He was also my neighbor in Canby, which was pretty interesting at the time. The other thing I would remind people is thank you for being courteous today, because this is not an easy job. I'm suffering from extreme heartburn right now, right? Because our job is to take the tomatoes, acid and all, okay, when we go through these processes. So I want to thank all of you who have testified. And also about our union folk, I've always valued you. I was one of the folks who helped found the Children's Center, which helps with kids who are being sexually abused. I am well aware of what you do in health clinics. I'm well aware of what you do with early child care. I'm well aware of the hard work and times that you have put through, as this county previously went through major issues, including COVID, ice storms, fires, and I kept waiting for the meteorite to hit, because I was thinking, what else can happen to us? And now we're in trying times because we're so polarized. But what I would like to say to my union friends is this: we need to work together fairly, and I believe that we have offered a contract, I think, that is fair and just, and I would ask you to please take a close look at it. I think that that is an important thing to do, because one of the things, I talked to one of my colleagues the other day who was here before, Sonia Fisher, and she said, well, why? And I said, really what we're trying to do is we're trying to make sure that all the unions have the same parity across the board. That's the truth of it, okay? And we have to work with this, I will agree with Ben with this, within the constraints of what we're doing with the taxpayers and the rising costs and the threat of not quite frankly having the federal dollars that we used to have in order to complete our human resources mission. So I hope we can resolve this sooner than later. I do want to make it clear, I honor you folks. It's been very frustrating to me because during bargaining, it's clear that we cannot share information to this, okay? Please take another look at the offer. I do think it's fair, and I do think that we are really valuing you. And I also think that there's a fairness issue, to be honest. We have to think of our other union folk who have settled with this, okay, in a way that we have to have parity and unity as we move forward. It's not about not valuing you as employees and the work you do. I knew, Craig helped with the Children's Center. I knew with the Children's Center that, for example, was an essential piece of what we had to do. It's now one of our premier nonprofits. And I will continue to work on housing and the Recovery Center with my colleague Ben, who just took a break. Okay. Well, thank you for being here today, and I'll stop talking because I'm saying too much. But please look up Braver Angels, those of you who are Democrats, Republicans, and otherwise. And Mark, I'm going to make a specific ask of you to please do that, do that yourself, because I think you will find it enlightening and helpful as we move forward in with all the controversy surrounding us. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Schrader. Commissioner Savas, comment?
Sure. I was going to actually follow you, but if you want to go ahead, I think you have more of a prepared statement. I don't have a prepared statement, but I'm going to speak to a couple things. So.
Yeah, I mean, I want to make just a couple comments here. And first and foremost, I will continue to repeat this over and over. We had an employee recognition the other day, and most importantly, that I do very much value the employees and their commitment to public service. we, all of us, I know Paul, we really do appreciate the work that they do in our communities. I know it's difficult. I have a real passion for those that struggle with mental illness and addiction. I have a passion for children that aren't so fortunate, and I know that H3S provides a wide range of services to critical families that are also facing health issues. So most importantly, I want you to know that I hear you loud and clear, that this board is committed to working with Employees Association Union to reach a mutually beneficial settlement on this contract. I know that we have mediation scheduled for next week, April 8th, and one of the things I would ask really is that all sides come together in good faith to finalize this agreement so that we can put our attention on our most critical focus of serving the residents of Clackamas County. And one thing that, was kind of our motto at the Sheriff's Office, which I really believed, is that it's working together to make a difference. And it is time that we come together and really resolve this. I can just tell you it is that nobody wins. Whether it's the employees or the public, and I'm hopeful that we can come to some resolution on this and come to the table so we can kind of put this behind us. So those are the things I'm hopeful for, and I think it's just going to take us coming together and sitting down and having the discussion about what it's going to take to resolve this and move forward. And I'm hoping that will happen. So with that, I'll turn it over to Commissioner Savas.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I don't have any prepared comments today, but I'm just going to speak from my heart a little bit about a number of things. And so if you'll indulge me a little bit. I was an employer a long time ago through my small business. And so there were times my wife and I could not pay ourselves just to make sure, because our number one issue was making sure our employees got paid. So there were times where we went a month or two without even paying ourselves. So it was painful. We had to dig deep. We had to do without for a long time. So I understand the value. So I can speak from a personal experience. And I want to say that what I didn't expect running for Clackamas County Commissioner, what I didn't expect was to learn about all the services that I didn't realize when I ran that the county provides. So, and some of those people here spoke today and past about all the valued services that help the citizens of this county. So I appreciate and relate to that and seeing that. But I do want to say that, many years ago when I first became elected, not as a county commissioner, but first became elected, I ran because I was really actually upset. I was upset because, number one, I saw governments fighting governments. And to me, that was public dollars fighting public dollars, and the residents not seeing, the taxpayers, the ratepayers, in this case ratepayers, not seeing the value, not getting the value because the money was, those ratepayer dollars were going to lawyers, and they weren't going to fixing the system and everything else. So it was an awakening for me. I had my nose so close to the grindstone as a small business owner that I just assumed I'll just tell you how naive I was. Now, I say this from time to time. I thought government was a fine, well-oiled machine. I campaigned in 2010 as a county commissioner, speeding the clock forward from 2020, or from 2000 to 2010. I ran, and that was the big thing. I saw things in the county I thought were not going correctly, and I learned more about some of those fights and those wasted dollars. I still, to this day, it pains me to see governments and taxpayers' dollars being wasted when governments are fighting governments or internal issues. I was in Salem for the last 2 mornings, 4 or 5 hours yesterday and almost as equivalent the day before on an issue between really government agencies, and really is a dispute. But when I got elected and sworn in 2011, one of the disputes, I'll just give you an example. I won't say which city it was, but there was a 25-year dispute between one of the cities in the county and Clackamas County itself. And I met the mayor. This is my main message to you all today. I met with the mayor at the time, and I sat down, and I listened to him, and understood where he's coming from. And I made him this promise. I said, if you and I can work in good faith, we can fix this. Can you commit to working in good faith? And the mayor said, yes, I will. And so we proceeded on that path, and within about a year, and we met almost every Friday in the council's office to try to solve this with a couple of attorneys. And after a period of time, we solved this 25-year dispute. And in my prior life in small business and up to that point, even in my elected positions in 2000, 2001 forward, many disputes that I've been involved with. And I've learned one thing. If one party comes to the table in good faith and one does not, the party that does not, the party that comes in good faith either loses because they succumbed to the party that was not working in good faith, or you never get to agreement. You don't solve the problems. The problems aren't solved. You don't come to that resolution. All I ask is that if everyone suggests, and I've learned year after year after year, and I truly believe this to my heart, if everyone comes to the table in good faith, we can solve any problem before us. And so I just want to hold to that and convey that, and I think the chair's message that he read speaks to that. If all sides can come to the table and work in good faith, we can get to a resolution. But let me just tell you that since my role here as being a county commissioner and going over agreements and disputes or poorly written agreements, I have seen what it's like when one party comes to the table in good faith. This has nothing to do with labor. But when one party comes to good faith, the other does not. The one that comes to good faith loses. And I've seen agreement, IGA after IGA, in which why did we do this? Because the county came in good faith, but maybe another party did not, and we lost. And really the taxpayers lost, or the ratepayers lost. So that's my learned lesson, and probably why I have so much, or my hair went from brown to gray so soon in life. But Chair, that's all I have. I yield back.
All right, thank you. I'll now convene as the Housing Authority Board of Commissioners and recess as the Board of County Commissioners. So Gary, what's up next on the agenda?
Thank you. You're now meeting as the Housing Authority of Clackamas County. This is the request for consent agenda. Joining you online is Housing Resident Commissioner Ann Leenstra. Are you there, Commissioner Leenstra?
Yes, I believe I am.
You are here. Thank you for your patience today, Commissioner Leenstra. Andrew, would you please read the consent agenda?
Housing Authority Consent Agenda. Item A, approval of a resolution to approve the annual plan and moving to work supplement. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved. B, approval of a resolution to authorize the sale of scattered site public housing properties and related use of brokerage services. Funding is through property sale proceeds. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the Housing Authority Consent Agenda.
All right, thank you. Do any of my colleagues have any questions, concerns? Okay. Anyone wish to remove anything from the agenda, Housing Authority agenda? I'm not seeing any, so I'll entertain a motion.
Chair, I move that we approve the Housing Authority consent agenda as read.
Second.
All right, so Commissioner West has moved to approve the Housing Authority consent agenda. Commissioner Schrader is second. That motion, any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk, would you do the poll for us?
Commissioner Leenstra.
Aye.
Commissioner, apologies, I believe you're muted.
Aye.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you so much. I'll now adjourn as Housing Authority Board of Commissioners and reconvene as the Board of Commissioners. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you, and thank you, Commissioner Leenstra, for joining us. Next is a public hearing Item A, approval of a boundary change proposal 2025-001 for sanitary sewer and stormwater services to a property located at 1060 Southeast 172nd Avenue in Damascus. No fiscal impact, no county general funds are involved. Jeff Munns, Assistant County Counsel, will present. Go ahead, Jeff.
Thank you. Yes, another boundary change. This is to CCSD 1, part of West. The property is approximately 4.5 acres. The property owner has petitioned for this annexation in order to develop it from its current single-family residence to 54-unit subdivision. So as part of that, they'll be brought into the district for the sewer connection. This has been reviewed, and it was processed appropriately under the Metro Code and our ORS 198. It's consistent with the city and the county comprehensive plans. This is in the city of Happy Valley, and we have an IGA with them that governs this process where they come into the district and go through this annexation. But it is appropriate to approve at this time.
All right. Any of my colleagues have any questions about this boundary change? Seeing none, I'll now open the public hearing on this specific item. I'll take in-person testimony first. Clerk, would you please moderate the testimony in person online?
If you are attending this meeting today and wish to comment specifically on this matter, I'll ask you to please come forward. Seeing none, I'll now move to virtual testimony. If you are attending this meeting virtually and would like to comment on this specific agenda item, I'll ask you to please raise your hand, and I will call on you in the order that I see. Mr. Chair, I see no members of the public who wish to comment on this matter.
All right, thank you, and I'll close the public hearing. Commissioners, any comments? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Chair, I move we approve boundary change proposal 2025-001.
Second?
Right, so Commissioner Savas has moved to approve the boundary change proposal 2025-001, and Commissioner Schrader seconded that motion. Any further discussion? Looking around, seeing none. Clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
All right, thank you. Gary, what's up next?
Thank you. Next is the consent agenda for Clackamas County. Commissioners, I am pulling 2 items from this list. Technology Services, item D1, and Health, Housing, and Human Services, item F2. There need to be corrections for accuracy made, which we and staff will do that, and then return this to a future consent agenda for your action. So the list Andrew will read is a revised consent agenda, and we've noted that for your motion. Andrew, would you please read the revised consent agenda?
Revised consent agenda. Item A, elected officials. 1, approval of previous business meeting minutes for the Board of County Commissioners. 2, approval of an amendment with Northwest Occupational Medical Center for medical and psychological pre-employment screening services. Amendment value is $35,000 for 1 year. Total agreement value is $185,000 for 3 years. Funding is through county general funds. B, County Administration. 1, approval of a work and financial plan with the United States Department of Agriculture Animal and Plant Health Inspection Service for wildlife management services. Agreement value is $121,649 for 1 year. Funding is to the Oregon Department of Fish and Wildlife, Oregon Department of Agriculture, United States Department of Agriculture, and $89,620 of budgeted county general funds. C, Finance. 1, approval of a public improvement contract with Fabulous Floors for flooring at the Lake Road Health Center. Contract value is $225,572 for 2 months. Funding is through health center charges and fees. No county general funds are involved. E, Transportation and Development. 1, approval of a public improvement contract with CARE Contractors for Bilquist Elementary School sidewalk construction. Contract value is $2,143,495 for 2 years. Funding is to the Oregon Department of Transportation, County Road Fund, and System Development charges. No county general funds are involved. 2, approval of a personal services contract with Harper Hoff Peterson Regalis for Welch's Road Bike and Pedestrian Project Engineering and Design Services. Contract value is $705,824.13 for 3 years. Funding is through the Community Road Fund. No county general funds are involved. F, Health, Housing, and Human Services. 1, Approval of an amendment to a subrecipient agreement with Clackamas Women's Services to provide legal assistance for domestic violence restraining order petitioners. Amendment value is $10,000, $321 for 6 months. Total agreement value is $163,338 for 3 years. Funding is through the United States Department of Justice. No county general funds are involved. 3, approval of a grant renewal application to the Oregon Department of Human Services for supplemental nutrition assistance training and employment programs. Grant value is $175,000 for 1 year. Funding is through the Oregon Department of Human Services, with a 50% required match funded by Supportive Housing Services Measure funds and $42,000 of budgeted county general funds. 4, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with Washington County for the Get Trained to Help Regional Collaborative to reduce suicide. Agreement value is $15,500 for 2.5 years. Funding is through the Oregon Health Plan. No county general funds are involved. 5, approval of an amendment to a personal services contract with the Father's Heart Street Ministry for homeless outreach and engagement specialists in Sandy, Welches, Estacada, and Molalla areas. Amendment value is $3,601,867 for 3 months. Total agreement value is $10,599,883 for 2.5 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds and the Governor's State of Emergency due to homelessness state funding. No county general funds are involved. 6, approval of a data sharing agreement with Metro for the Supportive Housing Services program. No fiscal impact. No county general funds are involved. 7, approval of an intergovernmental agreement with the City of Milwaukee for extended hours at the City Library Cooling Shelter during heat events. Agreement value is $90,000 for 3 years. Funding is through Supportive Housing Services Measure funds. No county general funds are involved. Mr. Chair, that concludes the consent agenda.
Thank you. Any of my colleagues wish to remove any items from this consent agenda? Seeing none, may I have a motion?
Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda as read.
Second?
All right, thank you, Commissioner Schrader and West. Commissioner West has moved to approve the revised consent agenda. Commissioner Schrader second that motion. Any further discussion?
No.
Seeing none, clerk, would you please call the poll?
Commissioner Savas.
Aye.
Commissioner Schrader.
Aye.
Commissioner West.
Aye.
Mr. Chair.
Aye.
Motion passes 4-0, Mr. Chair.
Right, thank you. Gary, what's up next?
Next is County Administrator Update. I'd like to share during my update the great work of our county employees. Today, I want to recognize our staff of the North Clackamas Parks and Recreation District who operate the North Clackamas Aquatic Park. And in particular, a member of the public wanted to recognize our aquatic park manager, Jason Kemmerich. And this member of the public wrote the following: Dear Jason, I think you and your staff are amazing. You are unfailingly polite, patient, thoughtful, and considerate in your responses while juggling multiple interruptions, rude customers, confused elders, staff questions, and building maintenance issues. Without such brilliant management, the Aquatic Center would not be the rousing success it is. Recently, you patiently talked with a screaming, unreasonable swimmer in the pool. When you finished, someone else walked up to you and yelled at you. Then 3 people asked you questions. I said I could not do your job. When I told my wife about this, she said, you told the truth. You could not do his job. Thank you for all you do. So the note also recognizes our other NCPRD staffers at the Aquatic Park, Jennifer House, Terry Whitney, Kaya Reinerston, and Peyton Brookfield. So thanks to all of our staff at the Aquatic Center and our North Clackamas Parks and Recreation team. That is my update for today. Thank you, Commissioners.
Well, thank you, Gary. Well, let's begin with Commissioner Communication and Commissioner Schrader. I'd like to have you go first.
I'm going to forego it today, folks, because we've had a long morning. I do have a couple of things I do want to report on, but I'll save them for next week. They can wait.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Schrader. Commissioner Savas.
Yeah, I kind of touched on my earlier comment about being in Salem. I just want to let you know that rumor has it that today, sometime this afternoon, there will be a framework of a transportation package. I've been working hard in a number of different areas of the transportation package. So I don't know what it looks like, but I'm going to maybe kind of report back to you on Tuesday as to maybe our thoughts or concerns. I'm not, again, I don't know what to expect other than to let you know I've been working hard at that. And as Commissioner Schrader kind of mentioned, I'm going to just abbreviate my comments today in the interest of time. Chair, I yield back.
Thank you, Commissioner West.
Thank you, Chair Roberts. I'll be brief also. It's been a long morning. I see Commissioner Schrader has a packet there. It'd be interesting going to that. We, no, the other one.
Oh, the other one?
Yeah, that one.
Oh, this is the one, yeah.
So, yeah, so.
This is your baby.
Yeah, we've been working really hard to tell the story about what a recovery-oriented system of care is. It is in contrast to the typical housing first policies that we've seen in the region up and down the West Coast. And now even in different cities, not just our own, we're really starting to beginning to have conversations that reflect back about where we've been, what habits we've engaged in, what have we done, and why hasn't it worked. And I just met with the metro area mayors, all 6 were there, Mayor of Portland, Mayor of Gresham, Mayor of Sherwood, Mayor of Beaverton, Mayor of Happy Valley, no, I'm sorry, Mayor of Lake Oswego, Mayor Beatty from Milwaukee. There's 6 of them that represent the work group of the Portland metro area mayors within metro boundaries. And then I've been meeting with Commissioner Singleton yesterday in Multnomah County, working directly with President Peterson daily on the supportive housing service tax and how we're going to right the ship and how we're handling the homeless situation and substance abuse and behavioral health issues in our region, and how do we address that. And there is, maybe for the first time in 4 years, in my opinion, really meaningful conversation happening about how to pivot, how to take a new approach, how to be more collaborative, and I'm very heartened by that. And that packet is kind of that our staff put together with us, Commissioner Schrader and board, really tells the story about what we're doing, what the philosophy that's informing our work, and how we're intervening on in this space. It talks about the different priorities that we're investing in and how they fit within that system, how it has continuity, how it's a care continuum, how our systems talk to each other and work well with one another. And we believe, and some other entities around the state believe, that that's replicatable and scalable. And so we're having really huge influence right now. It's not been easy. Chair Roberts and I see each other in the office often. It's like our offices are right next to each other, but we never actually get a chance to visit much because we're both working so hard in so many meetings. But I see the needle moving on that. So I want to report back on that. I'll keep reporting back on the big work with the SHS task force that I'm co-chairing with Lynn Peterson. I will be running the meeting next Monday. It is public. It is worth watching. President Peterson had family issues, so but I tune in if you're at all interested in how we're going to preserve the SHS funding, try to fix this system problem, and get on the right track. So we'll there's some interesting policies potentially coming out of that. So want to report on that. I want to say this on the public's behalf again. It's really hard when one group can indict or bring propaganda or fabricate or champion a specific narrative publicly in a negotiation. And the other side is muzzled and doesn't have the ability to fully paint the full picture in the case. And it's been hard to govern that way, but that's how it's set up in our system. And so I want to, we are trying to find that balance in this contract moving forward and trying to figure out to get this done. I believe the county's operated in a very fair way and I think that it is very competitive. And so I know that there's a lot of strong feelings here and sometimes it's hard to talk through those and to get to the heart of the issue. But I want to let the public know that the county has been operating in good faith, and that's been our goal and our desire. We hope to see a resolution to this soon. If the EA choose to strike, we honor and respect their lawful ability to do so, and we will support it. We hope it doesn't come to that. That is not our goal here. We hope that we can get back to doing the good work that the taxpayers and the residents of Clackamas County need. And we're all public servants here, and we take that very seriously on this board. And I think that us being judicious in this matter also shows to why we were the only major government in the metro area in the black and not having major budget crises. And we have to look forward to that. Commissioner is right. There's looming concerns about federal funding in the future and creating parity across all the different unions. It's one union that we have a sticking point with. I think we have operated in great faith with the other unions and have a different relationship with those unions because of the collaborative relationship. This is an outlier for Clackamas County. And I hope that we get to a point where we can move beyond this and I'll get back to work. So I'll leave it with that. I guess I was more long-winded than I wanted to be, but thank you for indulging me, colleagues.
No problem.
All right, thank you. I'll just have a couple quick comments. First of all, just want to thank Gary for all his hard work on the budget. We've been putting in lots of hours and kind of seeing where we're at, and also met with staff, kind of really also getting a better understanding of the total cost of the courthouse, where we're at on that. So I want to thank you, Gary, for helping make that happen. Quick follow-up with Commissioner West is this SHS is where he's the chair. I attend that same meeting as kind of one of the tri-county chairs. It is a lot of moving parts. This is really a new change in the direction. Really glad to see Commissioner West as the vice chair, and I think collectively we're able to kind of hopefully move some things forward in a positive way. And one of the things I also wanted to point out, I met with Kaiser staff yesterday. I think this is really exciting for Clackamas County as they're going to have a new hospital. It's a new medical center in Clackamas. It's going to have the new state-of-the-art hospital tower. Plans to, the new facility is going to be on Sunnyside Medical Center campus, and it will be done in 2029. The construction actually starts will begin in early 26. And some of the technology they have is really amazing. It's going to be 7 stories, 615,000 square feet. And one of the new things they've done is patient rooms are going to be individual instead of having 2 patients in a room, hopefully, and to prevent disease being spreaded if there's an outbreak of some kind. So there's a lot of great things. It's going to be one of the larger, if not the largest employers of Clackamas County of employees. So anyway, I plan on visiting there soon to kind of see some of their plans for that as it moves forward. The other thing I want to highlight too, I think it's really important that with this, that we do a close coordination with our recovery campus in Kaiser. Kaiser has one of the A wings, which is currently houses a Brookside Center. It's a residential mental health and addiction medical treatment facility. And so it's really important, I think, as we're looking at this population, that there is some coordination, and we're really kind of working hand in hand. So looking forward to meeting with more Kaiser staff to see that coordination move forward. So with that, unless my colleagues have anything else, on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners, thank you again for joining us. It's been a long day. If there is no further business, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.